Salvador, members of media, first of all, king artiang terma merogu bagususra rubul belau mar adal belau morenga sulir tel telgibel time mosabe del metlor tiga rubaglum te blurir eso la gim dusese osisul time gives kami opportunity mam askager auriu. So as has been mentioned, I'm honored this evening to be joined by the outgoing chairman of the Micronesian Chief Executive Summit, Governor Tony Canayan Rablulab. So la gidaguk chair lekadam le hostel al sils engel incoming chairman sel next sel pol hosta ama artial forum Guam, Governor Guam Eddie Calvo. Of course, we've been blessed this week also that President FSM Peter Christian amne join, President Republic of the Marshall Islands and Dr. Hilda Heine mandirek mlosabari relmeng. So tonight, members of the media, you get a chance to ask questions. Well, very quickly, on behalf of all of us, this has been a success story for the Micronesian region. First, beginning this week with the meetings of the Micronesian President Summit, immediately followed by the Micronesian Chief Executive Summit, comprised of all the governors of the FSM and the Governor of Guam and Saipan. But there has been some reform to the reorganization, so I'm very happy to quickly let you know that from here on, this organization shall be called the Micronesian Island Forum. That will be the new name of this organization. At the same time, to make sure that this region continues to enunciate and push for the issues on a regional and bilateral basis. We have also established the Micronesian Center for Sustainable Future. In short, this office will be the Secretariat Office of the Micronesian Islands Forum, and will be the follow-up voice and arm of the forum. Those are the two major components of the reform that we had, and Guam has kindly consented to host the next Micronesian Islands Forum next year in Guam. Later on, you will get copies of the joint communique that comprises all the issues that we have discussed. But that would be my main part, to open this up, and then have my colleagues maybe say a few things about what they think are important in the communique, or share you some results of the meeting that we've had today. So if I could start with the Governor of Guam.
Thank you so much, Hafiday. Good evening, Ali. I want to, again, thank all those that participated in this Micronesian Executive Summit. I want to give special thanks to President Remengesau and all the people of Palau. We had an opportunity these past few days to meet not only those in serving in positions of leadership in Palau, also the traditional leaders, but also the people of Palau, and an opportunity to meet the future of Palau, and that was, again, those representatives from Palau High School. That's why I have so much confidence in Palau and the future of Micronesia. Again, it'll be an honor for Guam to host the newly formed Micronesian Island Forum next February. And of course, we have not settled the exact day in February, but it's important that we move forward in the issues that have been discussed that are of mutual benefit to the people of Micronesia. And that is why I fully endorse, again, the formation of the Center for Sustainability. This is an important center that will, again, be based out here in Palau, that will allow for many of the issues that we've discussed, that there will be on a daily, weekly, and monthly effort to move forward in the issues that are so important. So with that, I want to thank all my fellow presidents and as well as governors of the Micronesia Executive Association, and we look forward to progress in the future. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Governor. May I the floor to the President of the Marshall Islands and the historic making woman in the Pacific. As you know, members of the media, Dr. Heine is not only the first Marshall Islands president, but really the first woman president of the region. We thank her for taking the first official trip outside of the Marshall since her swearing in to join her colleagues and friends here in the region. Dr. Heine.
Thank you, President Remengesau. And I joined my colleague from Guam to express my appreciation to President and his staff and people of Palau for hosting us this week, for doing an excellent job of bringing us together and making us see what we can do together. In the Marshall Islands, we have a saying called Kajuru War. That means there is strength in number, and I'm sure all of the countries have a saying similar to that. And this week was exemplified that strength in number in terms of us coming together to look at common issues across the region. And I believe that the communique will show that there are many common issues, and we come together to address those as a region, and that's more strength in coming together and addressing those issues. So with that, thank you for this opportunity. I've enjoyed the past few days learning, being the new kid on the block, learning from my colleagues here. I think I look forward to learning more in the days to come. Thank you.
May we also ask the governor of YAP? YAP has so ably chaired last year's Micronesian Chief Executive Summit, and so for the last year they were the sitting chairperson until we exchanged responsibilities this Palau. So we do want to thank YAP State and Governor Ganngiyan. Please say something.
Sure, and thank you very much. It's what I like to do. Thank the head of states and the governors, for my unique participation in this meeting, because although I'm a newcomer, but at the same time I'm a past chairman of this group. But at any rate, I'm very happy as a newcomer in listening to the governors who have been with this group and the head of states, and learning from them. And other than that, I want to add that the hospitality here from the president level all the way down to the community level is something that we cannot forget. And I want to thank the people of Palau for all of that. Thank you.
Thank you, Governor. And of course, last but not the least speaker is a person very well known to Palau, even though he's the president of the FSM, but he's always been a Palauan at heart, always coming here. And many of the leaders of the region are very knowledgeable about President Peter Christian. So please, sir.
Thank you very much, President Remengesau. You have spoken well on all our behalf, including the FSM, as far as this forum is gone. Thank you very much, Palau. Good night.
So please go ahead.
Good evening, Your Excellencies. Mr. President, you mentioned about the reform that you talk about this organizing these meetings. I just want more clarity. There are two processes here. There's an MPS and then there's an MCES. So that means that you are combining the two to create one MIF. So my question is that, how is that effective? You are combining three independent jurisdictions with the Guam, CNMI, and then YAP and the other states of the FSM. How is that going to work? Thank you.
Thank you. So for clarification, we continue to maintain the opportunity for the three presidents of FSM, Palau and the Marshall Islands, to meet a day prior to the opening of the rest of the Micronesian Islands Forum. As you know, in the past we had conducted separately the MPS, Micronesian President Summit, and separately the Micronesian Chief Executive Summit at different times, at different venues. So to save resources and obviously to make us more united as a group, I think we felt very much the justification that, as President Heine said, there is strength in numbers, there is strength in unity, and there is strength in collaborating together. So we realize the unique issues that are relevant only to FSM, Marshalls, and Palau. We'll use that day to meet, and then the very next day, of course, we'll have the general meeting of the Micronesian Islands Forum, and that will be the case once a year.
President Remengesau, one of the issues in that you wanted support is locating the secretariat in Palau. Any particular reason why you want the secretariat to be located in Palau?
First of all, as you know, this concept of having the secretariat has been endorsed before. It was always a question of funding. This year, we've been able to secure funding, mostly from our friends, the Republic of China, Taiwan. And of course, we have agreed as members of Micronesian Islands Forum to also put in our dues, respective membership dues, which will also help the Center for Sustainability. This is the fact that these reforms and the decisions have been made in Palau. I thank my fellow colleagues for their support to say that we will start the office here in Palau. We will put in our dues. We will register ourselves as a non-profit organization. We will seek partnerships not only with ROC, but of course our friends from the FSM, our friends of People's Republic of China, and our friend governors, and from Saipan and CNMI, our friends and part of the United States. So everyone will have a role to find partnerships. But the first important thing was that we're going to put in our own resources to make sure that the follow-up work is done through the center.
Just one question that anybody could answer, please. In one issue that is very pressing regionally is the disaster risk mitigation. And I understand from the speech from the representative of the United Nations that the region is looking also to get a central office in the North Pacific. Has that been addressed during this summit, or is that something that you're still looking to discuss as to where the center office will be?
What UN office are you referring to?
There was a discussion that in order for United Nations to have more support to the North Pacific, that there will be a hub somewhere in the North Pacific, and that all the three countries have expressed interest in hosting that hub. Was that part of the discussion during this meeting, and becoming a one entity? Is that something on the table, or am I jumping the gun on you?
I do believe that's an issue that has been paramount for all the leaders of Micronesia, is the issues on climate change. And it has been noted in our discussions. And now I'm not too sure whether we had those discussions in whether it was in our luncheon meetings or in the formal setting. But it is our belief with these island nations and island territories that we are feeling the impacts of climate change, though we are not those that have contributed. And I made mention that when the wind is blowing right from Indonesia, our islands receive the smoke of those forest fires. And if the winds are blowing right from Northeast Asia, then we get the smoke from the smokestacks from Beijing. And so as we move forward, it is important to have these discussions and see what our strategies are, because really we have not contributed to any in terms of the extent of emissions in the atmosphere or pollution in the seas. Our island nations and territories have not been the cause of these issues. There has been a lot of aggressive activity in policies made by particularly our island nations here in regards to ensuring that we do not pollute. But we have to focus also on the areas of adaptation and mitigation. And the concerns for all of us is in adaptation, if the waters rise, not as a result of what we've done, we're going to feel the major impacts. And what's so important, again, with this center, as we discuss the issues and whether it's on having to put seawalls up or having to harden our infrastructure, it's going to cost a lot of money. I think we've got to take a look at what avenues there are available. You have sovereign nations here that have representation in the body of nations. You have 2 U.S. territories that have some input into the policies and the appropriations of the United States. Each one of us have different, we have different voices and funnels for getting our positions out known. And I think what's important is, as we all come together, we use our collective resources to deal with issues such as climate change. And whether it's through a world body, and in fact, I learned a lot today in regards to the debt swap for nature. There are certain things there that are new to us that can be, I think, if we work collectively and collaboratively, we could take advantage of some of these opportunities. So I don't think we've gone as far as your question, but we have had these discussions, and now as a body coming together to seeing what are these solutions and how we as a Micronesia family deal with these issues and come towards resolution.
Thank you, Eddie. And then keep in mind that one of the reasons why we're empowering the Micronesian island region is that the Pacific is such a wide area, and so most of whether the programs, whether it comes from the United Nations or other international organizations and forums, are mostly implemented or directed towards the South Pacific, where many of the regional programs are located. So it has always been part of our aim is that we as a northern region should strengthen ourselves to ensure that there is a fair distribution and a fair application of whatever opportunities are out there. So yes, UN programs have been also encouraged to establish their hub offices up here. Examples like the UNDP, there's also SPREP and other sub-regional organizations based in Pohnpei, Marshalls. But we'll continue to focus on the uniqueness of the issues on the North Pacific and what we really need to band ourselves together to fight for.
I just wanted to answer the question she wanted an answer for. Did we discuss the location of the UN office? No.
Mr. President, I see many of you colleagues have visited Palau in the past. And I would like to ask them with their experience and observation at this time in visiting Palau, what can you take home? What do you see in Palau that you can take home and share with your citizens?
Yeah. Well, I was here 2 years ago, and I'm of course very happy to be back. And one of the things I always notice about Palau is how clean it is. And so today we went to have a field trip to the solid waste facility. Yeah, and I was very impressed with that. And that's something that I think Marshall Islands could use, the ideas, the various component of the waste management program. I was very impressed with the operation, and I think this is one of the learning that I'm taking back, going back to the Marshall Islands. So I'll just stop there. Thank you.
It's been 5 years since I've been in Palau. And since that time, by the way, that was a few months before the primary election in Guam in 2010. So I took a little vacation with my wife and kids just to relax before we go through a heavy election. What I've noticed in this 5-year period, number one, you've gotten a lot more tourists. So you see the more numbers of tourists, you see more cars in the road. And I noticed that when you see cars, you see the vibrancy of an economy. But at the same time, as the president from the Marshall Islands mentioned, the policies that have been put forward by Palau, new type of facilities, such as in your landfill with the recycling center, you've been able to strike a balance in terms of economic growth and the environment. And with that, I think that's an example that in other communities such as Guam, we could look towards. And you can marry economic growth with also protecting your environment and holding it sacrosanct. And so my views and what I've seen in these past 5 years, there has been economic growth, but not to sacrificing the importance of an environment that is protected for future generations of Palauans to come.
I agree. Well, I don't want to take anything away from Palau. They're so well placed. They so much complement each other that to take anything away from here would be a disgrace. But if I was to take anything, I'd take the Rock Islands.
We'll work with Abdul and the people of Corona. Yeah. But we'll share with you the joint communique after we sign off on it, and I think that should spell out all the issues that we've been able to resolve. And you'll find that some of them are continues to be ongoing, some of them are new. But then as we assessed. Also, there's been a lot of issues that have been resolved and moved forward also. But you'll see all of that in our report. Okay. So with that, thank you very much. Okay. Sulang Mr. Salvador Telamse, malungil server merkomar adra media, tiregal kadamrenga sulela speaker tigal adra House of Delegates lo soberil me kadat makalbek ladak musaying ataygi del Biosecurity Act. Salvador tiang amral taraygil sebedel wasing mo landmark legislation le impact ringi a direct el global kat maklil girela sustainable future malubeng klugu kita other belau ra tokora daw matokora blue matokora dalang aklev tokora kalef tokora economy rigid tokora keizai betok atlan tengila siungela klangar gidel kangkestera oi kai gidel tokora biosecurity merenga suliwar ada median lo subimil me cover tiang direct merungul lo pentrigal leaders ra House of Delegates kadamo saing ringi ma ako tulu ule Salvador tial kora scientific tial ngakli wase biosecurity endi klamrar ngi en kadam sao del girela yel invasive species yel الوال ديال غارغير بلاو اندي لا غدغركي كلين سويس برا oyaqa skoki malubeng oyaqa dial malubeng oyaqa abatengira raat oyaqa klalo oyaqa containers wal melo tita malum qawada igel kuk dimlangar ngi lo tli klalo delom lang gargar malubeng ngaratao pa tiagil tora invasive species Salvador ambrarnya que quedera do Southernil wasetia kada mol dom daswa tora ageizai matora rule obesel wasetia diregal gida del adres ngil itia seb el maqada igagil betok te al do albangala marungulo o aisa di gelwal basic el trentengil tiala alwasen finally ang mornia plakatak la rel al ngara bavier malubeng ngara hongergit el mo good mclisel framework malubeng sel do daira mo uleng ing sab edrol da lakar tial tora invasive species solaya olvira glula motmok tial lungil madengel wasya economy rablu ma security rablu ma ungil klung yole la tora da ma tora environment ra direct blue areom ma asersam ma blue walul tuir tiagid el otutel tiagid la esela ya kadam dengel wasen betoka bekrag el aldi lora turist el mo betokal mirbelau direct el maldi mral mo betoka te al ra igir klalo do mus ra clear belau el mei mangal moklau risk malubeng moklat te al ra igayir bil basing invasive plants the lom ma animals arm ma insects ma alubeng rak telo bengelak mungarang klel el mesois brabluan tial tora fruit flies el al diregal maldi melmal la aigal del roda ra belur belau aiga indregal introduced el invasive species dimlakal ngargir belau rangaramong direct el tarabla lo ay sirgi despiguera o sea el bebira time aigal liat marwadial sel merbela nguk ngarnya igel wal lium de malubeng ngarang klel ngara eungela aptila dial el menguk mo yul morar wang amla le dimrok mo dimrogol guk mora tabela en direct ngarnya loqwadal ligel guk natural species ngara al selablu tiala amalungil mangmo saklisi Ministry ra Natural Resources Environment and Tourism mangmornya wal gora abroad maluwing teligibel blair klisiir el mo controla gagi del borders ra daw ma blue maskogi el nya mo ulen se edalol tauter tial lula biosecurity ma invasive species adras kogi Miguel Skogil may mar crew members nya direct lo abornya aguk pebir ye requirements el wabol giril matmokl di direct el mal aswara spigera asentiamo o girel wal ngariar biosecurity officers ra a ministry direct mongor alil sirabere o mesa oiga gir clara belsis in the future kadal ambol ngita sesel dalela udo de la ministry mo sabil hire trainer tigal officers tiang mal timely El Salvador leng tial dirgam lomrek 21st Micronesian Chief Executive Summit etia taragel items mla joint communique mle ultura discussion sama recommendations tial forum el wasengire del mo rolo bangel ablura mrigel o sika funding el mo el gut mklit yagi del el togora invasive species malubeng togora biosecurity matial forum direct lualu langit tra Marshall Islands ma FSM ma Guam Palau Saibal mal bolshe el gut bekla el gut mokla sisi el ud el white yagi del la el angel المول ده الأقلم سبع أقلة تغرى بلوما ضاول يجري لها يجي invasive species من باي سبع إذا الوسابة لا الأنغوال قط الموجود مكليا أنغر قليل جريل تيان سبيجر تيان هذا ساينين الآن يمو 9-58 مالت مرمودة لنغرتيا introducer ngel gukne sponsor tial bill tangak delegate Lentcer Basilius ra capital state ramelgeok ngagi dengartiam guk team share bebira observations ngamiwe delegate kirel tial bill ra bod sai so lang president speaker marbe kladan ngartia tiale kamsulang la oti amal mol endorsement terkal kirel tiala entre kalkura o entre kalkalik sa nga katiam lora committee ra environment of agriculture and resources and development mutumlo o meseringi mga tmokarngi adi history tial bila ble the trial mururingi ra las tolbi le direct lo kora lo tilo la tretele la senkyo mum lo mre el angko kuno sbe de los tabri tiang basically president the way kelom dilu tadi mo protect ra the lom ma arman we so isu para belur belau ya direk kan ngari ya regulations e bolongot mok letrigel ministry ra resources and tourism e direk lang ngari ya telgibel amo overlapping jurisdiction authority ko kirel ra immigrations ma customs e base regulation ay gel acceptable di mo omesem mok mati tuwi kay di kurang asulem e baik pasat tialgo kumsa kami tilul mesel mga mokraureren malkokultu se sulang
chairman bil itasil se presidente tial lulda sol molla ma amla era tumne introducer ngira last olbi el koraul mesel ngira kasi agirel mre el mga kangiringi el ubesegi del molmodi al el manguk mengil mel alol bil اول مقنو موري من introducer ni سيجي el cluniol el da libera environment belau madallo ma arm direga el mujer para adr belau kida adr belau el kila بالواد كذا سمارا بيبير هذا اللوم ما arm din jakada sara ku pebir هذا اللوم اللي قال باسل jakada langari belau mong sibel marak termeng mailo yulo gide oya simple example a mosquito ngari ngai gel bibir a mosquito le ngar belau ya kada mora bibir rablu en mail me al bibir ko bang ngi ngari arak ngari el be kita al bela dakhli immune morgi rakt introduce ab esel seguida ul bakor o mesela bul gulabi el makra bul gul ya kadil bol help arab inte degal help para aba mar adrablu sulai el presidente ngakati malungina rugra hausleng tial bila be introducing ira kotel ragara kamamra el alol bira lulau em la moye de ragit ki mo elura ada sianet tiagi de gol finally en to con eringi lergau e kautam na con em mo sai eringi tigel malkil kamitir ngatiang o mesingia of course a delegate ra angaralong niya chair ra national resource ma protected area book chair niya delegate hata hobe indi men introducera ngagidral ngederal kim mongelu ada sianeta mongina ruga ada sianeta na kongem ko mbrenga asuli de presidente ay ya bebir ay el meisur bil kundasa hacienda la bangankia a o tilo sea y aquí de meisur bil se en braille
asu wama ador bila mo so amal tar mame embru la uror agi dir ka el al wige kam sel kinera sel Paris agreement masel bisa waiver dire kan benga surya senet ngora mo bringile mo gora o mo di tadi ko ngai marael magada waisa ada bela lo sing sirgi bom ndaklo uror abilam namo la hotel mrgo sing namo 9-58 ok mogin muter mal mo blagar mam na sel mo ngar ok vid ngo kail bila kim nasser elal le ongetiu lo vid agi mo misa ka presidente agel bil mea om sin dim saing mangi malungira mam no sigida namo ater raptol tunyaul gile la blu bela am sulam
sula speaker dimla ater ni ko malmeo nung kerdire galwadi o aisha speaker lo asha alselti albil en maral mo telgibel komakaya inspection ma o tutela alla mora oiga gidel clalo ma del lom mal uben animals ngai krelbela mesois gidam bengel be clalo lo asha sel dangar omrael en blol sada ko di mre de akal checker gid meng di sel salguk mal mo beota lul omrael en dakal du ulel ngariar guk makasail adal lo si sabay gay el wabolu ulen telmelela ablu ma geyzair ablu ma adalom la madalang okra ablu meng tarayel toil kora ulmo to ase biosecurity adiregal diwal security ar adal de cheka aboes ma yel wal tugudel weapons dakal balsis ditia diregal wablal lo sisul teletal maurora diregal girel kut muklil mora arm madalom mukuktial me foreign invasive species el tomal kodobak lo ring nek madengelo sa hotel tianga direct wapol komakai mang di kadam lamo madengelo sing lat mo perso rangod el belu el merbelau lat mo udel rangod el belu el mail yel kuk udel mga adalom ma direct betoka gida chairman milsawa singarea bek patengela wa insects wa mosquitoes ma bebil direct met mu meng kadamaral mora yel bek lu le sabakra bulwadra raqtama yel mo uleng matamalar adma geizai ma adalom lo ma armor al selablu speaker so eding atia lagi tergele delegate sangaria delegate Luciong Iraiguet, ma Delegate Lentcer Basilius, Delegate Marhence Madrangchar, Delegate Sebastian Marino, ma Speaker. Okay, amla mo 9-58 el niya mo Biosecurity Act. Okay. Para directly din will te al ngaring itial press conference sirgid ma gal delegates lang atyang le mentioner niya speaker nding soal mutlo ay sa significance ra action ra Senate ma House tel el alsande el wablul civil commercial el CAP 21 mal open Paris agreement tegit sel dir gamlaring close meeting ra blul adal el hoster niya blura Paris France gel toil miltib a direct mal mlut kel girela sab aklela ablul other rogir toguni gal magkerel blura Pacific malubin small island developing states ratokora global warming ma climate change ma tokora energy tokora health ma poverty ay gidel goals el blul other rogira motmak o tobda udo de tobda efforts til mo sabakle mga doul sindra yidel issue our rebetel mergida small island states mang ser adel el motlora blul ade ongel wa se gayid el miltibra Paris ay gaya mo hotel bilela giblam gangi kabelmenter kamam ay gal bebi rablu ad en adel mo sam okla yigid el urior ma ngesul girela gay ma belawa al sela Pacific rogir kada number 2 ako temble Fiji followed immediately by Palau mla ratify tial agreement se atara dulangit ringilo ak tial 21st Micronesian Chief Executive Summit lo se bolsa bela FSM Marshall ma Palau ma kuam masaibal el ratify tial agreement mal Madrangchar adar olvira kulara mal timely action til directiang actire que Salvador el amle direct caber yar adra midian din el alwig en los el gale assistant secretary ra state Russell el larbelau ni ma admiral Swift emle address ra joint session ra olvira kulau direct gloria ilak meeting irgi de lobangel din dio sisul toya message ra blura merigel mergit mang seldi soadal kora emphasize irgi asing amrigel consider belaul wal strong friend and ally tira al seltial Pacific di waigil direct consider amrigel ngari igel kora mo urabtak klurior waya compactra fi association rel al dira kal mga kangira ka blura merigel dingwa blol blatak wasing executive branch ramrigel ma congress ramrigel malamol maral wasin diakat kiril kut beklia atial compact letia ya ol hotel ak mesel del willer gida ma blura merigel adi direct los wada rong single umtera merigel speaker sel al alwa sing toera klagarngela daw ma torak klagarngela blu ma torak klagarngela blur belawa blur amrigela motritra blur belal diwal defendra tara territory maluving state tra blur amrigel which is called for under the compact ding bebira time ngungil labagatak la yel application blur amrigel ma ngaralel kada grateful sa alila ko tun sisil blura blulan el alsil se Salvador en guk lomrek sel conference ra malubeng lam umrek kabelmentra siabal ma sasakawa Peace Foundation ma Nipong Foundation ma kabelmentra belau ma Australia ma direct kabelmentra merigel matmok segi del workshop ra toera marine law enforcement etia direct wal tara clock to tlel mera blur belau le tel easy gida 200 roughly 600,000 square kilometers sel el bull ra blur belau la clear lubeng clear 80% ra the bell comes to around little over 500,000 square kilometers waklungel la blura France agire dal mangkarni sabak ringi meng sel conference el ang awal boldaka Australia mamrigel masyabal mobelau ma FSM wasing ngaraigel kuk sabedal cooperate maluga na motmag utmok kilgirela sabaklela tial klagarngel ma enforcement tra dabela taheyo particularly blur belau speaker ngel chairman sa sakawara Nipong Foundation dodangalil la otopada ngegi dengel topada abilas el mora blur ablilio early 1980s ediregal dirgul tabdi tial besel bilasa mora lungasera blur ablilio el alsil sengwal lilu tel magataklil waseng Nipong Foundation amol ngasera blur belau el maybe abesel over 40 meters el besel dial tiang mo telgib clor tial remliga tial patrol boat tergi del kukl bilebia Australia yang ul meskit masel do mesa aral tial mo besel bilas el lo tabdil be kada mo do angara 37 million US dollars mandial gegrel to diregan lo magata clear el angil chairman sa sakawal wasetamo sel icepack sabol lekat bekli mengmoria ungil el bil madarura building el bolos pe area adra marine law enforcement el girela training direct legal klakatal surveillance ma technology amo el sois para el sel kerdinga ang ispaksyo o mesa at belvelao mo se el lo todo da patrol boat ma tokor o mangkar belvelao ya telentengil tial ngesra nipong na direct mo meskida tablol Miguel Megegrel Vilas lua maklungel igel bul matal el guktimo help el mangkar ay krela al mol me dra krela al mol se direct se el mo suira waya southwest islands ma igal guk northern islands sa modulang angal a training costra training dudira adal mo ngara artial beseldial ma lalu ma betok kora mo kladagalela siung el tiang direct mo ya ka segidel grant assistance ra Nippon Foundation sel do mes en diagal que karel ngeso habla el kamit tringia ablura shaval lo ya ka blessing ra complementa shaval el group me partner ablur bela e mo mok roita igidel el tleta el direct mal mutial te al recognize acknowledge ay gal ngeso lo ya ka wal non-profit organization ending kadamdengel wasing ngoya ka blessing ra complemento marara siapal mak mes klausa alergi de to top del mirablur vela dige gide Salvador finally en direct amlo aisra kasus gimngara selulubong lo mga simra tora tial Micronesia Chief Executive Summit lo se kadamla reform ra tial association elang lamodia al domodong ringil wa se Micronesia Chief Executive Summit mesel al adra Micronesian President Summit el gukti te del President Marshall ma FSM ma Palau ay leak el ang mong en mo mak el ekodong ringil wa se Pacific Islands Forum Micronesian Islands Forum ma mukteger se mo blagatak lo se sel talsils sel kotel sils en gukmali tirgel tede el president Palau ma FSM ma Marshall ngari yel guk koray lek issue gidel no bengel amerigel malubeng UN malubeng international issues legida independent el blue gida mo ngari te el motmag esmaud el next day gida mo totlo era Guam masaibal maigel foreign states ra FSM en koduguk mo sa maigel the issue di kangester tial region gidra northern Pacific malubeng Micronesia mang seguida Cotter Cloud Reform ongerung El Salvador maarinya yosang el monia Secretariat Office el domgodong ringil wa se Micronesian Center for Sustainable Future mesel gel betogol oil matip arinya Secretariat Office el follow up matmok make sure in motoy len wal koram le litulay gal regional meetings agalimet magem southern molmo aguktora el mong en arinya bebil kukoram oitel until next year mel al ngarinya office secretariat ma staff ma budget en sebel aigel role el bavier ma bill silgira del draft seguir lo visa follow up lo bengel aigal member countries ra region a budget el mo sebel gut muklitiang 400,000 gukoya ka me klausa ler belaw ma Taiwan ma direct marshals ma Taiwan etigir Republic of China en lo sebel ko ngi siya initial funding momotmok pertialobis direct bekel members agilengay ma through el tela ratal blue amo wal membership fees dir ra first 2 years ya uriul sebel maral morbab ngwabla lo otia seriousness malubeng kadamral wa sentia amo gire del motbok like al toil dong dolkoy ngila ngudelo aise de Salvador wa se tegi de lo visa mo beiser belao mang belao elanga mo hoster tegi del Micronesian Center for Sustainable Future mal uben mo bisra secretariat del girel tal Micronesian Islands Forum yegi de spigera wa le el gandi yegi de el alwika mal dobrenga suliul girel as you know, Salvador etial biodiversity, biosecurity comes after the less than 1 week rakuk tasaying energy act. Sel energy act direct tara girira igal belura Pacific pasa energy act tiling so that provide a framework mo ulem sebedel ko mesa renewable energy sources. Dati tangara kasoring madeiser musubel direct lomakasel girela toera solar wind energy ayel green energy lungira belum ora mal active el February alguma kadang tegi del pace en kadang uktir selol gornya spigelo as in dado sa 58 ma 60 kadang momsa na mobdula 80 mobdula 100 okay mada ko mal saul bekla de kung da se de press conference el metiang maguk next week. Ada sulang.